Hello, everyone.
I over-rotated it.
Hey.
Welcome to
Wait, there's more. This is our first video. This is Erin.
Yes. Hi, guys.
I'm Janie. Erin, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay. Yeah, so I am a javelin thrower. Sports have always been my passion. And I'm seventh year.
Seventh year, she's a grandma, but that's okay.
Yeah. More on that later. That's a whole other video. But God's just been teaching me a whole bunch of cool things through my collegiate journey. Every year, like I've been saying, there's a reason for the season.
Yes.
And he's always been teaching me something new, has grown my faith in him, my trust in him, and has really just been transforming my heart in so many incredible ways.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I've just been feeling called to do something like this and start sharing what he's been teaching me. And
yes,
ran into you in the locker room
I
one
know,
day.
so crazy.
Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah, so we met when I was a freshman. We're both at the University of Georgia, if you cannot tell by the venue we've got going here. But yes, Erin's a seventh year right now.
Yes.
She came here for grad school, right?
Yes.
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 So I went to Brown University undergrad, and then medically redshirted. Just a brief, quick overview. Medically redshirted my freshman year. It's the first meet of the year, second throw, and I just felt a pop in my elbow.
Ugh.
So that season, redshirt.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of God moments in that.
Had a ton of eligibility.
Had a ton of eligibility because then COVID happened.
Right.
The next 2 years.
Yes.
So my senior year, academically, undergrad, was actually my freshman year athletically.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy.
So she was like, I gotta
use
my eligibility.
Exactly. And what better place to come than
the University of Georgia. Come down to the south.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I started going to college here in 2022. So I'm a third year. I'm a junior. Obviously,
They grow up so fast.
I know. No, I'm gonna be a senior later this year. But yeah, so I'm a distance runner. I was recruited to run here, and so I ran cross country and track for my first 2 years of college on this team, and then sadly had to medically retire about 6 months ago due to lots of injuries. But I am still here at the school, and all of my friends are still on the team, just like Erin. And we've been talking about doing a podcast for a really long time. I'm pretty sure it was about a year ago-ish that we sat down and had dinner, and we're like, you know what? I think we need to start a podcast because I think it's so rare, especially in an SEC school on an SEC team, that you find people who have such a genuine faith, right? And so when you find those people of faith, you just like cling to them and you're like, okay, we're just gonna hold on to each other and encourage each other. And so Erin, also being older and therefore all-knowing and wise, kidding, but just wiser and have had a lot of more experiences than I had. I just have been looking up to Erin for so long, and she just has so many awesome things to say, and I am a chronic sharer. I love telling people everything I know and everything that I think is cool.
Yeah. And you're such a light on the team too.
Well, thanks.
Like every time it's like just a ray of sunshine coming through, and it's like always never fails to put a smile on whoever is walking by. So
I do have a lot of energy sometimes, but yeah, it's hence why I was an athlete. So, but yeah, so we decided it would be a really cool idea if we could start a podcast, since we have both had very many experiences being injured, being on a D1 team while being injured, and walking through all of the mental and physical challenges that come with that.
And not only that, but just the incredible people that we've got to
incredible people,
and be teammates with, and on other teams as well. And it's like, these are our stories and how God is moving in our lives, and like how much more is he moving in everyone's life, because he has a personal relationship with all of us, and so we all have these unique stories that we can share with the world to help each other and walk this journey together. Exactly.
So when I heard Erin's story, when she heard my story, and when we have just become friends with so many other people on the team, like obviously track has, I think, one of the largest rosters just in general of all NCAA sports, because obviously you have distance runners, you have mid-distance runners, you have sprinters, you have jumpers, you have throwers, you have like pole vaulters, like all of these
So
crazy
diverse.
events. There's so many events. There's so many different types of athletes, all in the same like track and field team. So obviously people have come from everywhere. We have a lot of international people on the team, but more than that, just people who grew up very differently. And I feel like it's almost an entirely different sport of throwing the javelin and running like a 5K, 6K, 10K, you know.
Yeah.
It's a very different sport, yet we're on the same team. So we've all been raised differently and come from different backgrounds, different stories of how we got here, right? And it's super, super inspiring, especially when people can attribute it to God and their faith. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here on this podcast. We really want to share people's stories. So the idea of, wait, there's more, is that when you see someone, you see a very successful athlete, and all you see is their success, right? And you see where they are currently.
Or their failures.
Or their failures,
because that's very
right.
publicized as well.
You see their success and their failures in their career, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much that got them there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more than just the training that got them there as well. And so we thought it'd be really inspiring to highlight those experiences that people have had and just share them with y'all because, yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's been some of my favorite experiences
Yeah.
is just learning about people's stories and
Definitely.
what's gotten them through the trials they've been through.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we could talk about it on the team all the time. There's peaks and valleys, right? Like
Yes.
mountain
Yeah.
tops and you're on a high. And that's what's interesting about track as well because it's an individual sport, but it's also a team sport.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like you could be on a mountaintop one day and then your teammate sitting right next to you could be down in the dumps, down at that valley.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you help bring them out of that valley as quick as possible?
Yeah.
While also still being like content and present on that mountaintop as well.
Yeah.
Just that balance, I feel like, has always been interesting.
It's very hard, to say the least. There's a lot that goes on mentally behind being able to be an athlete and having a great race one day and a really bad race the next day, or like a really far throw, I guess, or like you've come up short from what you've done in the past. And that can just either increase your mental strength or deplete it so much very quickly. So I don't know, that's kind of the mental aspect of being an athlete, which I'm sure we will get into that topic more later.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many topics that could be
so many topics
from that because I'm like right off the top of my head I'm thinking identity, you know? And that's where your identity in God really comes to play.
Yes.
A lot as well because it keeps you steady because regardless of if you're on that mountaintop or if you're in that valley, like you can still have joy because God is the reason for our joy and our peace and like despite circumstance.
I mean, that's the base of everything right there. That's the base of, I feel like, how you get through college athletics. Identity is everything. That's really cool.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that. Okay, slide. Thanks, guys, for listening to our very first episode of Wait, There's More. Please be looking out for new episodes as the weeks roll along, and thank you guys for beginning this awesome journey with us.